Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. To see someone's character, the easiest way is to see that person facing adversity. Not seeing that person when that person is happy and everything is perfect. You can see that in your intimate relationships with your partner. You can see that at work. You can see that in foreign policy. So I'm going to give you just an example. At work, everything is great. You're treated fantastic when things are going well. When things are starting to make noises, squeaking here, squeaking there, then you see how things change in the relationship between the management, let's say, and the workers, the regular workers, or in the family, the same thing. Everything is going all right, you got enough money, financially secure, healthy, all that. Everything is perfect almost. When you start having financial issues and things, problems and so on, then you see how and what are you and she made out of. And that's valid for everyone. It's not only for those or this, okay? So this is what happens in the countries as well. When your governments are proclaiming that they defend democracy and rule of law and freedom of the individual, freedom of expression, freedom of speech, all that, it's perfect when things are, abundant. Everything is good. When things start to, as I said, then you see these guys who supposedly are our elected officials. So they represent us and do what we tell them. Actually, in certain they know exactly what they have to, because they ran on certain issues. That's why they got voted. Then they see how they switch the thing, click, and they do whatever they want. And you say, hey, how about those values that we all profess here? We say, oh yeah, those are perfect. So in this case, I will pick on a country, I would say it's an artificial country, and I got some people disagreeing with that, but I made my point on that. I don't think I have to again. And that's called Moldova, the country of Moldova, which I think is an artificial country because it should be part of Romania, and it was a province of Romania taken by Stalin through an ultimatum. You give me that, or we're going to come and do to you what we did to Poland. And Romanians, the guys in Bucharest, decided that they will just give it like that, and as long as you don't want Bucharest, that's fine. Transylvania, take it too. Oh, Kadilater, oh, take that too. Anything the neighbors wanted, they got it, because it was not Bucharest. Remember that. Do I like it? No. Am I sour about that? Very much. So Moldova considers sanctions for citizens who fight for Russia in Ukraine. This is coming from Reuters from September 26, 2022. Now, there are a lot of demonstrations in Moldova, and the opposition is just organizing that, and they try to change some things over there. It's a big influx of Russian-speaking population of Russians in Moldova, because this is what Stalin did. Stalin started this, and then the rest who came in control, to be in control of Soviet Union, continued the same policy. They mixed people. So they took, let's say, Moldovans from Moldova, Romanians, I will call them, moved them to, I don't know, Tajikistan. People from Russia moved it to Moldova. People from Ukraine moved into, to, I don't know, Kyrgyzstan. People from Kyrgyzstan moved into Ukraine. Why? So you don't have homogeneity. So because if you have homogeneity, you have an identity, a tribe. You have a national conscience. You might do something against the whole multiculturalism that was at that time in Russia, as is right here. So they tried to mingle them, so you say, oh, okay, we're all for Soviet Union, but actually, so you forget you're a Ukrainian, you forget you are a Romanian, Tajik, or whatever other Russian and so on. Not Russian. Russia was always kept as Russia. So this is so right now in Romania, in Moldova, there's, I don't know, a big I don't know if it's like 40%, 30, 40% Russian speaking or non-Romanians speaking. From what? Anyway, you always have, you know, the borders, this kind of thing, but Stalin overlapped it a lot. So Moldova may revoke the citizenship of its nationals who go to fight for Russia in Ukraine after being called up because they also hold Russian passports, pro-Western President Maya Sandu said on Monday. Well, it didn't happen the same with the Moroccan, it didn't happen the same with the British fighters, it didn't happen with the American fighters who fought on the right side of the conflict, which tells me they don't uphold the freedom of the individual. That is depending on the situation, it's situational. So here you have her. No, you can't do that. But if these guys would go and fight for Ukraine, everything would be A-OK. So freedom? No. Freedom of choice? If you choose the way I want, yes. So Russia launched a partial mobilization last week to reinforce its troops in Ukraine, and there are 200,000 people with dual Moldovan Russian citizenship who live in the breakaway Moldovan region of Transnistria. Sandu said that there was a risk that some of those people could be called up by Russia to fight. To prevent that happening, we are analyzing the possibility of applying the process of revoking Moldovan citizenship for those people with Russian passport who fight on the side of the aggressor, Sandu said. So you have freedoms, and the law applies depending on the situation, right? The situation is determined by Sandu, and the one that likes democracy and freedom. And you know, we are also looking at the possibility of making punishment harsher for Moldovan citizens without Russian passports who are in the ranks of the aggressor's armed forces, she says. Really? Okay, so again, that's good and evil. Sandu considers because the West considers. Sandu has nothing. Sandu is pro-Western. She is sponsored by those. That's their puppet. She said Moldova was holding consultation with Moscow to prevent cases of its citizens being called up. Russia regrets probably that they didn't smash you earlier. Russia has had peacekeeping troops stations in Transnistria since the early 1990s, when an armed conflict saw pro-Russian separatists wrest most of the region from Moldovan authorities. Oh well, what do you want? The thing is like this: after 1991, when the Soviet Union disintegrated, Moldova should have come back where it was taken from, which is Romania, but they didn't. So, and nobody allowed that to happen. There were some consultations between them, but the guys in the West and the guys in the East said, no, that won't happen. So it won't happen. So freedom of self-determination and this, my ass, okay? It didn't happen. And I know that for a fact. There were consultations right after that regarding Republic of Moldova, the Socialist Soviet Republic of Moldova, and Romania. He said, just say yes, and they didn't show up. Why? Because they got their own orders from the West and East. That's how it was organized, the so-called revolution in Romania, by those guys over there. That's why when people say, well, the Soviet Union collapsed, we won the Cold War, you don't know anything about it. You know only what these guys told you on the TV. That's all. It didn't collapse because they were bankrupt because of a Star Wars program implemented by Ronald Reagan. If you want to believe that story, that's fine. You have that right. But if you get more information, you find out that was not it. That's why Gorbachev did not really like to be in Russia. You know what I mean? He lived mostly in California. I wonder why. And he's going to be buried, or he was buried in Moscow. But I think his grave is surrounded by security forces to prevent people from desecrating it. You think I'm kidding? Stalin's grave was attacked right after he died and so on. So yeah, this guy, yeah, bad boy. Thank you very much for being with me again today. And be careful, Sandu. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth and be just.